Fox Sports.
We are the Fox. We are the West.
After taking the first two games at Kansas City, your Rangers now have the best road record in baseball. A good strike offense led the way lately, scoring runs early and often. It's been Delino DeShields and Shin-Soo Choo setting the tone, getting on, getting over, and getting in. Today, the veteran Colby Lewis looks to set the tone and lead the Rangers to a sweep over the Kansas City Royals. Texas Rangers baseball is presented by AT&T UVerse TV. Well, another capacity crowd lining up to get into Kauffman Stadium here this afternoon. Partly cloudy skies overhead. The Rangers look to clear things up as they go for their third sweep of the year, taking on the Kansas City Royals. And welcome in, everyone, along with Tom Creeve, Steve Busby. Delighted you could join us on this Sunday afternoon of the red-hot Ranger baseball. And hot they are. They have done something this year that they have not done since 2012, Tom, and that is win 6 straight series.
You know, Buzz, it doesn't seem like it was that long ago this season that we were talking about things like when are the Rangers going to win 2 straight games? And then on the last road trip, they won 7 straight games. They have the best road record in all of baseball. They've played great baseball since May 1st. With yesterday's win over the Royals, they've now won 6 consecutive series. 10 series after starting the series 0-6, they're 7-1-2. 5-0-1 in the last 6 road series. They're on a great streak right now. They'd love to sweep this series with a win this afternoon, but that's a tough order against a team like Kansas City.
Yeah, it is, but they've got the right guy on the mound, too. One of the guys that's hot for the Rangers pitching, and that is Colby Lewis. So if he can get the run support that the Rangers have afforded him lately, I like their chances. So the Rangers getting set to do battle against the Kansas City Royals. We'll be back to Kauffman Stadium with more right after this on Fox Sports Southwest. is brought to you by your Texas Ford dealer. Visit your Texas Ford dealer now for great deals on America's best-selling brand. Ford is the best in Texas. By AT&T UVerse TV. UVerse has more live TV channels on the go than cable. And by Southwest Airlines. Book your low fare now at southwest.com. Well, the city of Fountains is the host city for this tilt here this afternoon. Kauffman Stadium and the Rangers and Royals will get things underway momentarily. We'll be back on Fox Sports Southwest right after this. Rendition of the Star Spangled Banner by the Youth Choir. Beautiful day here in the city of Fountains. And before we get things underway here this afternoon, let's head down to the field and check in with John Radigan. John?
Yeah, Buzz, the Rangers as a team have the highest batting average in the first inning of any team in baseball at 26-6. Their record when they score first is fifth best in baseball. And in 13 of his last 14 games, Delino DeShields has been setting the table in the leadoff spot. He knows just how important it is to get that fast start.
We were a team that was struggling in the early month or in April. And so, when we get a chance to score, especially early, you got to take advantage of it, get ahead, and give our pitchers a little breathing room.
Yeah.
I guess you could say. And, just keep adding on from there.
And it's been a recipe that's worked in the first 2 games of this series, guys. As you know, they got 1 in the first on Friday night, 2 in the first, and then 2 in the second that led them to victory in the game yesterday. So they'll see if they can't keep that going again today and give Colby Lewis a little breathing room. Guys, back up to you.
All right, John, thank you. Yeah, it's nice to play from in front, and Tom's going to tell you now about the Southwest Airlines Texas Rangers lineup that will try and get out in front.
Well, it's been a good lineup. They're going to use it again. Center fielder Delino DeShield starts it off, followed by Shin-Soo Choo. Prince Fielder is the DH. Mitch Moreland again in the cleanup spot is at first base. Joey Gallo bats 5th. Elvis Andrus bats 6th at shortstop. Leonis Martin is in the 7th slot of the order playing center field. The catcher is Robinson Chirinos. And batting 9th with 3 hits, coming off a game with 3 hits last night, is Hanser Alberto, the second baseman.
And that lineup is charged with facing Jeremy Guthrie. Guthrie out to a 4-3 start, but an ERA over 6. The 35-year-old, I think that 36-year-old is on the hill this afternoon. He's been struggling when he's gotten the ball put in play lately, and that means command has probably been a problem for him. Too many balls in the middle of the order. Rangers, as a result, will try to work him in the count, see if he can get into hitters' counts against Guthrie and negate some of his ability to use off-speed pitches. And let's take a look at the Kansas City defense presented to you this afternoon by Steele. Defense backing up Jeremy Guthrie at Gordon and Dyson in center field. Alex Rios is in right. Hosmer at first. Infante and Escobar up the middle. Mike Moustakas at third. And Salvador Perez is behind the plate. Underway at 12 minutes after 1 Central Time. The first pitch of the ball game is low for ball 1. Jim Reynolds calling the balls and strikes here this afternoon. Delino DeShields, a .280 average. Took an 0 for yesterday, but one of the few times that he has not been on base with regularity for the Rangers. 11 RBI. Rangers facing Guthrie for the second time in the matter of 3.5 weeks. And Guthrie gets that breaking pitch over. Guthrie on the 14th of May got a win against the Rangers, a 6-3 win. He went 5 innings, gave up 2 runs. And a drive to center field. Dyson playing relatively shallow as the easy play for out number 1. Well, Delino hit it pretty much on the nose, but flies out. Now Shin-Soo Choo will come up. A very humid afternoon, 89 degrees at first pitch. Wind coming out of the south at anywhere from 5 to 15 miles an hour. That means the wind blowing mostly out toward left center field. Kind of a now a hazy overcast. Choo, 246, 8 home runs, 29 RBI. Strike 1. How about that? His last 16 ball games against these Royals, a .380 average for Choo. He's hit well over .330 in his career against Kansas City. A ball and a strike. Guthrie back to the plate, and the breaking ball is popped foul behind home plate. Perez coming back at the screen, and it's right on top of the screen.
Wow.
Well, that you don't see very often. Yeah, the wire holding the screen up is maybe an inch in diameter, and it hit right on top of that. Well, Shin-Soo Choo living right in his first at bat. Guthrie again to the wind. 2 balls, 2 strikes.
Well, Guthrie, in his last 5 starts, if you take the 4 good starts, his ERA was 1.87 in 4 out of his last 5 starts. The other start was really an amazing start. 1 inning, he gave up 11 runs. That was against the Yankees. He actually started the second inning of that game, couldn't get out of the second inning, pitched a total of 1 innings, gave up 11 runs. In 4 of the other 5 starts, he pitched pretty well, as a matter of fact, at 1.87 ERA. He's one of those guys generally doesn't pitch that deep into a game.
Right.
But he generally turns it over to their bullpen, and they come out okay.
Chu down swinging here in the first, and there are 2 gone.
You take that one start against the Yankees away from his overall statistics. His ERA in the other 9 starts is .441, which, you know, is right around where he normally is in his career. I guess as a pitcher, Buzz, you'd love to be able to do that, wouldn't you? Just take away your 2 or 3 worst starts and see what it looked like after that.
You're like a golfer taking away an 8. Get a snowman on the card. Take that away. I'm pretty good.
Yeah. And John Doolittle reminds us that he started Game 7 of the World Series last year. Had a good year. 13-11 last year for Kansas City. 15-12 the year before. Over 200 innings both times. He's one of those steady guys. You don't notice him much pitching in the middle of a rotation, but generally is a guy that accomplishes what you want in your 3rd or 4th starter.
1-1 to Prince Fielder is off the plate inside. Yeah, Guthrie very good at changing speeds, but he does that when he's ahead in the count. Again, if you make him pitch from behind, as he is in this count, your chances of seeing a hittable pitch are increased. You let him get ahead in the count, and he's going to go to all kinds of things. That was a fastball, and Prince a little bit late pulling the trigger there. It's 2-2. One of those fastballs that was elevated enough to make it look a little bit quicker than it really was. Inside, 3-2. So Fielder trying to get aboard. Prince had a couple of intentional walks yesterday. Also had 2 hits, kind of an odd combination. Mitch Moreland waiting in the on-deck circle, would love to hit here in the first. Just underway in Kansas City. Rangers looking to gain more ground in the American League West. Inside and low for ball 4. Threw with a changeup on 3-2, and Fielder watched it all the way in, draws the walk. Mitch coming up.
Rangers trying to get a 2-out rally. They've done a pretty good job of scoring early in a game. I can't remember what the numbers were, Buzz, but the other day you mentioned what the Rangers were when they score first as opposed to when the other team scores first. Pretty dramatic difference. So the way the Rangers have accomplished that this year, it's in their best interest to try to score early in a game.
When they score in the first inning, they're 17-5 this year. And when they don't, you do the math, they're just the reverse of that.
There was another one when they, not just the first inning, but when they score the first run of a game, whenever it might be, it's something just like that. Pretty dramatic. And recently they have been able to score in the first inning too.
Mitch takes a strike. That evens things up now at 1-1. Moreland, a good couple of games in this ballpark in this trip. .571. He's 4 for 7. Also has a 3-game hitting streak that's seen him go 5 for 12. Had a big home run here on Friday night. 1-1 pitch. Big slow curveball, and Mitch able to lay off it. 2 balls and a strike. Mitch activated almost a month ago from the disabled list after his elbow surgery. Is hit right at 200, or right at 300, I should say, 299 to be exact, in the 21 games since then. Pops this one foul and back into the crowd. 2 balls and 2 strikes. The Royals in an extreme overshift against Moreland. Huge hole on the left side. Alcides Escobar, the shortstop, stays in his position. Mike Moustakas, though, the third baseman, is right there in the middle of the field on the first base side of second. Perez setting that target outside, and Guthrie ready, the 2-2 pitch. Guthrie still get the ball to home plate in a hurry. He's still a mid-90s fastball when he lets it go. He doesn't break that out every time he throws a fastball. He relies much more as he's gotten along in years on that sinking movement to his fastball. Mitch doing a good job of spoiling that breaking pitch. Rangers in the last 15 ball games as a team have hit .294. They've gotten that team batting average now up to its highest point of the year at .253. That's good for 6th in the American League. Popped him up to shallow left field. Gordon coming on, squinting into the hazy sun. Makes the catch. That'll do it. Rangers get a base runner on a walk, but stranded. Half an inning in the books. Rangers nothing. Royals coming up. I'm going to tell you about the Amica Kansas City lineup.
Alcides Escobar will lead it off for Kansas City. He's their shortstop. Mike Moustakas will play third base and bat second. Eric Hosmer is at first base, followed by the DH Kendrys Morales. Alex Gordon bats fifth. Alex Rios in right field will bat sixth. Salvador Perez is the catcher, batting seventh. The eighth place hitter is the second baseman Omar Infante, and batting ninth the center fielder Gerard Dyson.
And to deal with that lineup, the Rangers have sent Colby Lewis to the hill. Our progressive scouting report on Colby. Pretty good numbers in 11 starts this year. He rebounded nicely last time out against Chicago. He had a rough start against Cleveland the start before that. He'll try to keep the Royals in their offensive funk, and that means using their aggressive nature against them. Royals hitters like to swing early in the count. They do not walk a whole lot, and Colby knows how to exploit that as well as anybody. 1-0 pitch to Alcides Escobar's line to center. That is going to be in for a base hit. Well, Escobar aboard to start things off for Kansas City. Let's take a look at the rest of the Ranger defense, brought to you by Chicken Express. Outfield this afternoon, again, DeShields in left. You saw Martin in center, Shin-Soo Choo in right. Moreland at first, Alberto and Andrews up the middle, Joey Gallo at third, and Robinson Chirinos is behind the plate. A 1 on, nobody out. Mike Moustakas, a .314 hitter. 2 for 8 in this series is Moustakas with an RBI. Moustakas in his career, not a lot of at-bats against Colby, but he's gone 4 for 9 with a home run in the encounters prior to today. Pulled by the dive of Moreland into right field. Escobar will motor on around to third. And the Royals, with base hits from their first two hitters, have runners at the corners and nobody out. Moustakas exploiting the Rangers' need to have Moreland holding the runner on.
Well hit ball. Just out of Mitch's reach.
So first and third, Eric Hosmer, second on the Royals team with 33 RBI. And he has hit Colby Lewis very well over the years. 5 for 13. That's a .385 mark. Breaking ball is skied to center field. This will be deep enough to score Escobar. Leonis Martin with a catch. The throw comes into second. Escobar scores, and the Royals take an early 1-0 lead. Hosmer with his 34th run batted in this year.
Martin almost got caught lobbing the ball back to the infield. Moustakas tagged up, took a bunch of steps towards second base, decided not to go, but if he was a little bit of a gambler, I think he could have made it to second base. Leonis just assumed that he wasn't tagging up. Catches the ball, just kind of tosses it back in to the cutoff man. Moustakas was almost halfway to second base and went back. Gotta be careful about that.
Yeah.
You never know.
Sure do.
Get caught napping out there.
Kendrys Morales, switch hitting designated hitter, takes strike one. Morales is the team leader with 38 RBI. .294 average. 3 for 13 against Colby. Half a dozen home runs for Morales this year. No balls and 2 strikes. Morales, the big addition to the middle of this Kansas City order in the offseason. Royals went out and got a legitimate cleanup hitter. Lengthen the middle of that order out, put him in between Hosmer and Gordon. Moustakas moving up to second. And this one popped up. It's in play, and Mitch Moreland waiting for it to come down. 2 gone. Good pitch by Colby to get that ball in on Morales. Now Alex Gordon will come up.
Colby's faced 4 hitters, only thrown 8 pitches. Got the ball up and in and jammed him.
That goes back to kind of what we were talking about, Tom, with the aggressive nature of this Kansas City club. They have an idea what they want to see, and they see it early in the count. Boy, they're having a hack at it.
Yeah. And you would think that would lead to a lot of wild swings and strikeouts, but they may swing it. They may expand the strike zone a little bit, but they don't strike out.
No.
Mentioned that I think the first game of the series, they have a chance to have 4 straight years where they've struck out the fewest in the American League. Fewest times in the American League.
0-1 pitch coming to Alex Gordon. And 0-2 now. Gordon a .256 average, 6 home runs, 25 driven in. Gordon just 1 for 7 in this series. And that was a double in the 5th inning of yesterday. And that snapped an 0 for 11 streak that he had been in. Moustakas at first, and the fastball high and tight. And Gordon kind of typifies what's happened with the Royals of late. They had just not swung the bats well, and they have not scored a lot of runs. Out of play. Last 11 ball games, they have scored a grand total of 22 runs, and 8 of those came in one game against the Cubs. During June, you see Kansas City next to last in the league in batting average, 195, and this is a club in Kansas City who led the American League and the major leagues in hitting for April. That pitch got Gordon. Colby trying to come in, looked like it was a slider, and Gordon hit on the leg. That puts 2 on with 2 out for Alex Rios.
Well, Gordon now has been hit 10 times. That's the most in the American League. He didn't look like he was too concerned whether that ball hit him or not. He just left his knee right there to take it.
Well, first and second, Alex Rios now also a .256 hitter. Former Ranger with a home run and 8 driven in. Missed 7 weeks with that fractured left hand that he sustained back in the second week of the season up in Minneapolis.
Two of those teams we just showed as far as the lowest batting averages were Minnesota and Kansas City. They're tied for the lead in the American League Central.
A strike at the knees, 0-1. Yeah, Minnesota, aside from Houston, maybe the most surprising team in all of baseball. Paul Molitor taking over up there, and they really played some good baseball.
Yeah, Houston is near the bottom in the American League in many offensive categories, not home runs, but they're still a team that's 11 games over 500.
Yep. One ball, one strike to count. And Colby missing, flowing outside. Rios, since coming back last week from the disabled list, just 2 for 11. Sat out yesterday afternoon's ball game. Back in there today, trying to get himself righted offensively. Didn't really want to do it, and he went around. 2-2. Andy Gonzalez, the first base umpire, said that was enough for him. Believe that to be a swing. Still 2 balls, 2 strikes. Royals 1 game behind the front-running Minnesota Twins. Royals are 30-23. Still have very much a home field advantage that they've enjoyed this year. They're 18-12, despite having lost the first 2 games of the series. And they just finished up a series with Cleveland. The Indians came in and won 2 out of 3 before the Rangers came in. Colby checking the signs. He's ready to work. Breaking ball, called strike 3. Got the front door wide open, and Alex Rios caught looking. Royals score a run in the first on a couple of hits they strand to after 1-0 Kansas City. All-Star Game ballot. Visit TexasRangers.com/vote and vote for the Rangers as your favorite or second favorite team, and you'll receive an offer for 50% off select games in August or September. Head to the web and send Beltre and Fielder to the All-Star Game. The Rangers down by a run as they come to bat here in the top of the second. Joey Gallo takes ball 1 low and outside. And yes, we need for you to vote Fielder. Getting that big guy in there. He's at last count 3rd in the American League first base race. You know, Prince has played mostly DH this year, but still he is listed as a first baseman. Joey Gallo, a .286 average in his first go-around at the big league level. Had a big rip on a Guthrie fastball. It's 2-1. Gallo with 2 home runs in his first 2 games as a big leaguer. 5 runs driven in. And he's hit safely in all but 1 of his first, now 6 major league games. 3 balls and a strike. So Joey trying to get aboard to start the Rangers second. He'll be followed by the Rangers shortstop, Elvis Andrus. And Guthrie thought better of it as he did the right thing. If you have any second thoughts, step back off and retool it. Good tailing fastball. You get an idea from our center field camera how much that ball really moves his fastball.
And there's one of those 95-mile-an-hour fastballs you were talking about, Buzz. Put a little extra on that 3-1 pitch.
Now the 3-2. Low ball 4, and Gallo takes the walk. Well, Guthrie with his second walk of the game. He walked Fielder in the first, and now he's got 1 on, nobody out for Elvis. Andrus right at the top of the American League again and sacrifice bunts, although he's been hitting in a run-producing spot in the lineup for the last couple of weeks. Elvis second. They'll make that 4th in sacrifice bunts. Shot to third, Moustakas, they'll turn it over. And the double play erases the leadoff walk.
Well, if you're Kansas City, you couldn't have asked for a better pitch, a better result. That's just about as easy a double play as you're ever going to get. Big high chopper, short throw to second, and an easy throw back to first with no worry about the runner.
And that kind of pitch is a Guthrie special. Boy, he gets that ground ball with that good sinker. Oh, base is empty. Leonis Martin taking strike 1. Guthrie back to him. And a swinging strike 2. Martin at .237. 3 home runs, 16 driven in. Leonis an 0 for 4 yesterday. Got him swinging. So Guthrie comes back from the leadoff walk to get the double play and a strikeout. Rangers gone in the second. 1.5 in the books. Royals 1, Rangers nothing. Visit your Texas Ford dealer now for great deals on America's best-selling brand. Ford is the best in Texas. And by Geico, 15 minutes could save you 15% or more on car insurance. Now, Colby Lewis back to the hill to start the second inning. And the first pitch to Salvador Perez is high for ball one. Colby with 19 pitches in that first inning, 13 of which were strikes. Royals got a couple of hits, scored a run. And the next pitch to Perez is a bit low. Perez, 277, had a home run yesterday. Trying to break out of about a 10-day slump. Hit well to left field, but this is playable. Delino to Shields. Right on the edge of the warning track, has it for out number one.
Yeah, the wind's kind of drifting out toward left field. Looked like that ball carried pretty well. Colby is a fly ball pitcher. Fly ball rate is 46%, fourth highest in the major leagues.
You know, this is a good ballpark to do it in if you're going to throw fly balls.
Yep.
A lot of room out there, and pretty quick outfield for the Rangers with DeShields and Martin and Chu. Omar Infante takes a strike. Infante had the day off yesterday. Christian Colon got the start, and Infante, a little looping drive to short, knocked down by Elvis. He recovers, throws not in time. That is going to be an error on Elvis Andrus. Elvis also had one yesterday. That ball ate him up on the short hop. Now they're putting up a base hit.
It's kind of a semi-line drive. And it came up, took a little hop, bounced off Elvis's chest, and it's ruled an infield single. Infante, hustling down the line with decent speed, was able to beat it out.
No, 1 on, 1 out. That is the third hit of the afternoon for the Royals. The number 9 man, Gerard Dyson, steps to the plate. And Colby drops in that big slow curveball for strike one. Dyson got the start yesterday in favor of Alex Rios and tied a career high with a 3-hit day.
Giving Lorenzo Cain a day off today.
Yep.
Pretty good fourth outfielder. Good speed, good defensive player. Nice ninth place hitter. One of those guys that can get on base for the top of the order, provide speed. If you're going to give your outfielders a day off every now and then, he's a nice guy to be able to plug in there. He's also the kind of guy, if he had to play for an extended period of time, you'd feel pretty comfortable with him doing that too.
A ball and a strike with Infante at first. Dyson showing bunt, and he has to move his feet out of the way of that Colby Lewis pitch. Rangers shifted around about a step, maybe 2 steps to the right side for Dyson. Hard hit, that is by Alberto and into right center field. Going for 2 is Dyson. He's in there with a headlong dive. On to third goes Infante. Runners at second and third, and just 1 out.
Well, Dyson can fly. Martin was playing him shading toward left field, and he ripped that ball to the right of second base. And by the time Martin could cover all that ground from the left field gap out there over to right center field, Dyson was flying towards second base. There was nothing he could do to prevent him from getting there.
There aren't many guys in baseball that you'll see turn that into a double.
Oh, there's 2 in this game. He's one of them, and DeShields is at least the other one.
That's right. And there are probably maybe a handful of guys that can do that. But Royals now second and third. Rangers will play the infield back, the top of the order for the second time for the Royals. Alcides Escobar takes ball 1. Escobar began things by singling to center field. Came around to score the Royals run in the first inning. For Escobar, that's not the 0 for 9 funk that he had been in. Out of play. 1 ball and 1 strike. Escobar this year against Ranger pitching has been a .320 hitter. He's gone 8 for 25 now with the hit in his first time up. 9 for 26. Infante at third, Dyson at second. Fly ball to left field. DeShields has the play. Tagging at third is Infante. He will score without a throw. And a second sacrifice fly of the afternoon, this time by Escobar. And the Royals lead it 2-0. Repeat of the first inning. The Royals had 2 singles and a sac fly. In this second inning, it's been a single, double, and a sacrifice fly. And Mike Moustakas now will step in with Dyson still at second base and 2 outs. And Moustakas pulled a base hit to right his first trip up there. Moustakas now with hits in each of his last 3 ball games. Colby just making sure that Dyson doesn't decide to use his speed to try and get over to third. Pretty consistent for Moustakas this year, left-handed, right-handed, a 50-point difference, but that's not at all out of the ordinary. One ball and no strikes. Colby a belt high set, and Moustakas pulls one to Hanser Alberto. Got time to pick it up and throw out Moustakas. That'll do it for the Royals, but they put another run on the board. A run on 2 hits, 1 left. After 2, Kansas City 2, Texas nothing. Just a great seating inventory for the upcoming series, June 12th through the 14th. The Treasure Chest has a limited time offer of paid the day seats. On June 12th, you'll pay just $12. On June 13th, pay $13. And on June 14th, you pay $14. Head to TexasRangers.com/Treasure Chest to buy, but hurry, this offer ends on Wednesday at 5 p.m. Well, the Rangers come to bat here in the third inning, now trailing 2-0 to Jeremy Guthrie and the Royals. Robinson Chirinos leading things off, the number 8 hitter in the Rangers lineup today. Nothing in 2. Guthrie working ahead in the count very effectively here this afternoon, and he's able to get to his secondary pitches. Rangers have drawn a couple of walks, but that's been about it. Have not put the ball in play solidly against him yet. Chirinos, a 209 average. 5 home runs, 22 runs driven in for Robinson. I would think the Rangers, with Chirinos hitting over 200, but with good power numbers, be very satisfied with that out of their catcher. Two and two now. Guthrie back to the plate. Call strike 3.
I don't know if it was a strike or not. It was a great pitch. Good downward movement. Moved back toward the plate. Might have been one of those pitches right at the bottom of the strike zone. Starts it out outside, and here it comes back toward the strike zone. Yeah, it's a great pitcher's pitch. It's kind of a nightmare kind of pitch with 2 strikes for a hitter.
That's that changeup that Guthrie is very effective with. So 3 punch outs now for Jeremy Guthrie, and the number 9 man of the order, Hanser Alberto, takes the pitch just off the outside corner.
I want to thank our friends from Fort Worth. Brittany, Heather, Tim, and Taryn are in town again. Not in town again, at the ballpark again, enjoying baseball here in Kansas City. Thanks for the treats you sent up. And also thanks to Deb and Terry Meyer from Waco. They're here to watch their Rangers play. And they sent up some snacks too. So thank you very much, Deb and Terry Meyer.
Shot foul down the third base side, and the count moves to 1 and 2.
More Ranger fans are here as well. Will and Maggie Mittig, along with Parker, Cooper, and Emmy Schutte. They're here with their parents from Grand Prairie and Arlington. Glad you're here.
Yeah, this is a very popular trip for Ranger fans. You get a weekend date up here in Kansas City and come on up and watch the festivities. Great atmosphere up here, just as it is in Arlington when you get a full house and a lot of electricity in the ballpark. Guthrie with a 2-2 pitch. 3 balls and 2 strikes.
And they've had a lot of rain here, just like we have back in Texas. Not quite as much, but the rivers are high, the golf courses are soaked, and rain was in the forecast off and on, and we've gotten all 3 games in with no problem.
Alberto gets fisted and hits a little pop-up to Infante for out number 2. And before DeShields steps in, let's send it back to Dana Larson for a Mazda game break. All right, Dana, thank you. The Astros have lost 3 in a row, while the Rangers have won 3 in a row. Rangers picking up those 3 games in the last 3 days. Delino DeShields began things by flying out to center field. Takes a strike there to even it up. Delino 0 for 4 yesterday, 1 for 9 now in the series. He had an off-speed pitch inside and just had it out in front of it a little bit. 1 and 2. Two balls and 2 strikes. Boy, Delino, as we all know, been on a pretty good run. He has hits in 12 of his last 15 games that he's had an at bat. He has been the spark that has ignited the Ranger offense. Chops that one foul at home plate. Still 2 and 2. Rangers now are 3rd in Major League Baseball in runs scored. They have 260. In the American League, they trail only Toronto, who scored 296. And they are just 1 run behind the Arizona Diamondbacks, the National League leader. Another 2-2. It's popped into center. Dyson got a late start. Still coming on. Makes the catch.
No problem if you can run like that.
That's where speed makes you able to outrun your mistakes. 3 up, 3 down for the Rangers. First time that's happened this afternoon after 2.5. Royals 2, Rangers nothing. Two 2-0. Rangers still looking for their first base hit, and Colby Lewis back to the hill now will face the middle of the order for Kansas City. Hosmer, Morales, and Gordon. And a little tapper out towards second. Easy play for Alberto. 1 gone. And let's send it down to John Radigan. John?
Yeah, Buzz, since Fox Sports 1 did the game yesterday, we all had the day off. I like to go out and see the sights of a city I'm in, if that's the case. Although in this case, it was the sights and sounds of Kansas City. And regarding the sounds of Kansas City, well, there was a little bit of Texas here last night. Yeah, that's the old 97s who did a little concert in downtown Kansas City. Rhett Miller, of course, the guy who conceived the idea of the Do It for Durrett concert last year, as the front man. And there we are, me and Eric Nadel and Matt Hicks. And Rhett, look at Rhett had the dress shirt, the blue shirt on during the concert, but he was wearing the colors after the concert, guys. He had a Texas shirt on just to let everybody know. And if you'll look close, I had barbecue for dinner, but my shirt, that white shirt, is completely unstained. Look at there. Not a drip or drop of barbecue sauce on my shirt.
Are you sure you didn't change shirts too?
Was that before or after you ate?
Yeah, I had two helpings. I mean, lunch and dinner barbecue, and no sauce on the shirt, just for you guys.
I heard you had a beach towel wrapped around your neck too. That was funny the other day.
Yeah. Biggest barbecue
That's just
sauce
the price you
stand.
pay for enjoying a good barbecue meal.
It is.
That's the way it goes.
1-2 pitch to Morales. Called strike 3.
Dropped it in on the outside corner.
Colby Lewis turned him into a statue, and Morales slowly making his way back to the dugout.
He's an unhappy statue.
Yep.
Did not like that call one bit.
Hang with him, huh?
Yep. Well, maybe something to argue about, but you know, when it gets that close to the corner, you win some, you lose some.
Sometimes you strike out the umpire, too.
Whoever loses one, the other guy wins one. So it's going to be 50-50. One guy's happy, one guy's not.
Alex Gordon pulling that first pitch foul.
That time Colby was happy.
That is kind of a glass half full approach to it, though, Tom.
Yeah.
It really is. Glad for you on Sunday you
And
can do that.
I guess the umpire is always going to be unhappy because someone's always going to yell at him, one or the other.
Well, what's bad when you have both sides yelling at him the same call.
Yeah. Luckily, that can't happen on balls and strikes unless they're arguing about the wrong call.
1-1 to Alex Gordon, who was hit by a pitch. First time he faced Colby this afternoon. And he lofts one to right field. Chu coming on. And it's a 1-2-3 inning for Colby Lewis. Sends the Royals down in order for the first time this afternoon. We finished 3 in Kansas City. Royals 2, Rangers nothing. Fans at the game on the 16th of June will receive an MLB Network tote bag. Visit TexasRangers.com, or you can call 972 Rangers to get your tickets. Jeremy Guthrie back to the hill. Rangers trying to get their first base hit of the afternoon. They have sent 10 men to the plate. They have a couple of walks, but no base hits. And here's Shin-Soo Choo to start it off. He takes a fastball for strike 1. Chu struck out his first time up there. Guthrie has struck out 1 in each of the first 3 innings. And 0-2 the count.
The Rangers not having a lot of good swings at Guthrie so far in this game. It's almost like they're not picking the ball up very well. Got a little too much fastball for him so far.
That for Guthrie is 52nd pitch of the afternoon. He's thrown 32 strikes.
That probably has a lot to do with the other pitches he's throwing other than his mid-90s fastball. The sinker, changeup, curveball that he's throwing. He's got a good assortment of pitches today.
Chu at 245 average as he awaits. Another chopper foul, and Hector Ortiz down there at first. Makes a nice play, gets another fan in his corner as he got that ball over to him in the first row. Chu 2 for 5 with a double and 2 runs driven in yesterday. 1 ball and 2 strikes. Talking about Shin-Soo in our open, or I should say a pregame today, talking about the great job he's done since May 1st. He has hit .301 since that first day of May. He's gone here on strikes to start the 4th.
Well, that at bat's a pretty good example of what we're talking about with the assortment of pitches that he's thrown. Chu saw a mid-90s fastball. He saw a curveball and then swings and misses at a nice changeup, dropping just slightly out of the strike zone. Showed him a little bit of everything in that at bat.
Yep.
None of them were really good hittable pitches. That looked like a hittable pitch, but it was a changeup instead of a fastball. Prince is a little bit out in front of it.
And so far, Prince is the only one that Guthrie has pitched backwards, throwing changeups and off-speed pitches and fastball counts. And then throwing fastballs. in off-speed pitch counts. Prince walked his first time up, able to lay off a couple of them. Fielder, another multi-hit game yesterday, 2 for 3. Hits this one to right. Rios in and to his right. 2 gone. Well, Fielder lines out to right field. 2 up, 2 away. He's now 7 straight retired by Guthrie, and he will face Mitch Moreland with the bases empty.
No, even though Guthrie had the one game where he gave up 11 runs and his line looks a lot better without it, he's still a guy that's giving up an opponent's batting average of .306. He's also given up 10 home runs in 54 innings coming into the game. But he doesn't look like that kind of a guy today.
Yeah. Yeah, that's the one thing about baseball. You know, you can have the worst looking numbers in the world, and if you get an opportunity to either swing the bat or to throw a pitch, you've got a chance for something different than what those numbers dictate.
No, he talked about what he's done since he came to Kansas City. It was kind of a change of scenery trade, but since he's come to Kansas City, he's 37 and 29 with an ERA under 4. Been a solid guy, and he's had some bad games just like any pitcher, but he's a solid guy with good stuff, and today they caught him on a good day.
Moreland deep down the line and left. On the move is Gordon. He can't get there. It's off the wall. And Moreland will stop at second. A long opposite field double for Mitch, and that's the first Ranger hit of the afternoon.
Well, Mitch continues to show that power to the opposite field. Had a home run the first day, hit it over the 387 sign in left center field, which at night in this ballpark is a blast for a left-handed hitter. Got a good pitch to hit. That one didn't have that tailing action to it that would have taken it to the outside corner. And Mitch hit it off the base of the wall.
And that's about 345 or 50 feet to where that ball came down. So that's a pretty good poke right down the other line. Well, the Rangers with their first base hit of the afternoon, a double by Moreland. 2 outs. Here's Joey Gallo. Gallo drew a walk as he led off the second inning. Gets a changeup on the first pitch. 0-1. Gallo 1 for 9 in this series. And his contract purchase, you remember, on Tuesday, brought up from Double-A Frisco. At Double-A this year, he had 314. Had 9 home runs. They were all in the last 4 weeks that he was down there. Two for 5 in the short sample for Joey Gallo with runners in scoring position. 1 ball, 2 strikes. Gallo didn't get to start his season until the 25th of April. He had surgery on his left ankle. Two balls and 2 strikes. Well, along with seeing some of the tough left-handers for Joey Gallo that he has had to face, he's seeing a guy in Jeremy Guthrie who you would think has fairly hittable stuff, but not so much. He can move the ball around and do a lot of things with it. Gets him swinging there on a changeup. 2 strikeouts in the inning. The Rangers do get their first hit, but Strand Moreland at second. After 3.5, it's the Royals 2, the Rangers nothing on Fox Sports Southwest. Book your low fare now at southwest.com. And by the Mazda 6. J.D. Power has awarded the Mazda 6 highest ranked vehicle appeal among midsize cars. Alex Rios leading off in this fourth inning for the Royals. Colby Lewis with his 42nd pitch of the afternoon gets ahead with foul ball strike one. Colby 28 strikes in his first 42 pitches. Out of play off the bat of Rios. 0-2. Rios called out on strikes in the first inning. Colby has punched out a pair this afternoon, both of them the called variety. Tried for number 3 and just missed the inside corner. Colby's given up 4 base hits, a couple of runs, one of each of the first 2 innings. Good pitch in on the fist of Rios. Still 1-2. Colby with 19 pitches in the first, 14 in the second, and just 8 in the third. In the third inning, he sent the Royals down in order for the first time this afternoon. Hit well to left field. The Shields over toward left center. He can't get it. One hop off the wall. Rios into second with a stand-up double. I think that ball fooled Delino de Shields in left field.
Yeah, he got what looked like a decent jump, and then it looked like he slowed down a little bit, like he had it under control. And I think you're right, Buzz. I think the ball was hit a little harder than he thought and just carried. Now, whether he would have caught it anyway is a matter of conjecture, I guess. He got a good pitch to hit and hit it on the line toward left center field. So we can see that. And it just hit right over his head. I don't know if he could have gotten to it anyway.
So a leadoff 2-bagger. That is the second double of the game for the Royals. Here's Salvador Perez, who flied to left his first time. Looks like Chirinos was crossed up on that pitch by Colby Lewis. It was a breaking ball that missed the strike zone low, and Chirinos was starting to reach up as if he thought it was a fastball. Had to adjust very quickly. Perez a .276 average, 26 RBI. And tired of waiting now, he backs out. Salvador Perez this year, averages wouldn't tell you overall, but with runners in scoring position, he has been very good. He's 10th in the league, hitting .364 in these situations. And he's got Rios out there at second. Nobody out here in the fourth inning. Colby ready for the 1-1. Highest averages this year as a team. The Royals tied with Minnesota for that top spot. Runners in scoring position. This one popped up. That's not going to get the runner over. Hanser Alberto, shading his eyes with his glove, makes the catch. And that is out number 1. Folks, tomorrow at 5:30 p.m., don't miss Team USA's first game as they battle Australia on Fox Sports 1. All FIFA Women's World Cup matches can be seen on Fox, Fox Sports 1, Fox Sports 2, and streaming live on Fox Sports Go. One out, Rio still at second base. Omar Infante, who had an infield single his first time up, will step in. Colby to the plate and fires strike 1. Infante had been in a pretty good 0 for himself up until last Thursday. He had been an 0 for 12 He got a base hit against Cleveland. Now he's 0 for his last 8 until that base hit. 1 ball and 1 strike. Mention the Royals, the difficulties they've had. Last 11 ball games, scoring exactly 2 runs per game. And that includes 8 in 1 game against the Chicago Cubs. So it's been a dry spell for the team that got off to the best start of anybody in baseball in April. As far as scoring, batting average, they came out of spring training hot and stayed hot.
You know, the other team that did that was the Tigers. The Tigers were right there with them. And Tigers finally won yesterday, but they're getting beat again today by the White Sox. They're struggling even worse than the Royals are.
Well, they have an 8-game losing streak.
I think it was, yeah. They're getting beaten fairly badly today.
Got him swinging. Good couple of breaking balls. Infante down on strikes. 2 gone for Gerard Dyson. Third punch out for Kobe Lewis.
Here's another look at the slider. He gets a lot of strikeouts with that pitch.
Hitters must not be able to pick up the spin on that when it's away from him very well. He gets some pretty good hitters to have crazy swings at that pitch. Dyson hit a double into right center his first time up. Just hit a line drive by Hanser Alberto, the second baseman, and with his speed, he was at second before Leonis Martin could get the ball back in. No balls and a strike. 1-1. So Dyson now a 4-game hitting streak has seen him go 7 for 8. I think that qualifies as hot. Colby trying to deal with him. He's got, you wouldn't think of pitching necessarily around a ninth place hitter, but left-handed hitter like Dyson, who is as hot as he is. Chopper foul, 1-2. Colby can afford to be a little bit careful with a right-handed hitting Alcides Escobar in the on-deck circle. Hit first base open. Trailing by 2, this is not something you think about if you were up by 2 necessarily. But trailing by 2, you need to keep the deficit at a manageable level. Colby's gotten out in front of the count. Now he can go to work on it. Broken bat, little pop-up. Hanser Alberto fighting the sun, able to make the grab, and a nice job by Kobe Lewis to work around the leadoff double. Royals grab their 4th runner of the afternoon, and we have finished 4. Royals 2, Rangers nothing.
Off for your Texas Rangers. Elvis, who started his career in the bottom third of the batting order, spent a good portion of time up in the top third of the batting order, but now finds himself, for the past couple of weeks anywhere, in those run-producing spots, 5 and 6, and he says it's okay. He's ready for anything to help the team.
He talked to me about it, put me down there and then, trying to, make our lineup a little deeper. With me and Leonis, down there we can do a lot of different things. And then, so far the lineup looks a lot better, We're creating a lot of opportunity, from the top to the bottom, and offensively that's what we want.
Yeah, there has been so much more versatility, and as you guys mentioned at the top of the show, it seems like Jeff Bannister has settled on the very top of the batting order, so now it's just a matter of fitting the other pieces in. Of course, when you lose Josh Hamilton and Adrian Beltre, it forces your hand just a little bit, guys.
Yeah, John, good points. It sure does. And I think Prince Fielder is seeing right now the absence of Adrian Beltre makes for him. A couple of intentional walks yesterday. Guys just are not giving Prince the same kinds of pitches that he is we've seen when Adrian's in there, be hitting behind him. Elvis leading off here in the 5th inning. Down on the count, 1 ball and 2 strikes. Elvis grounded into a double play his first time up there. Guthrie ready to unload his 71st pitch of the afternoon. Infante, the second baseman. 1 gone. Next will be Leonis Martin. Hey, Baylor fans, Fox Sports Southwest wants you to show your Bear pride in a Texas Ranger game. Get discounted tickets for Friday's game against the Twins, and the first 2,000 fans who purchase a Baylor University Day ticket receive a special Baylor-themed Rangers cap. Go to TexasRangers.com/UDays for details. 1 ball, no strikes to Leonis Martin. Now 1-1. Leonis went down swinging the first time that he faced Jeremy Guthrie. That's out of play. 1-2. Leonis starting to turn things back around. He's had multiple hit games in 4 of his last 7 contests. He's hit at a .367 clip. Seems like it's been either all or nothing for Leonis of late. To left field. Gordon has a bead drawn on that. 2 gone.
Guthrie continues to throw an exceptionally nice game. 75 pitches. About a normal pitch count, I guess, for him. And not a lot of hard hit balls for the Rangers.
Yeah, maybe even fewer pitches than what would be normal for him.
Well, that's true, because last time he pitched against the Rangers, he was gone after 5 innings. And he didn't walk a guy in that game either.
And a little tapper back to the mound by Chirinos. And it's going to be a quick and easy 1-2-3 fame for Jeremy Guthrie. We played half the ball game this afternoon here in Kansas City. The Royals 2 and the Rangers nothing. 4th, Rangers take on the Oakland A's. And make your plans to head on out to Globe Life Park for some summer fun and enjoy the ballpark hot dogs for just $1 each. Visit TexasRangers.com for tickets, or you can call 972-RANGERS. Now, Colby Lewis back to the hill to work the bottom of the 5th inning. Colby with 58 pitches, 39 of them strikes. And the first pitch to Alcides Escobar is outside for ball 1. At the hot dog races, or the condiments races, and the ketchup and relish had a little problem. They lost their suspenders, therefore they lost their drawers. That gave Mustard a pretty easy task of winning that race.
That stuff happens every now and then.
It does. Colby Lewis couldn't quite reach down to get it. An in-between hopper, and Escobar with a leadoff single. Now, a little bit of indecision on the part of Colby Lewis and then Mitch Moreland, but more so on Colby's part.
Yeah, I think Mitch felt if he went for the ball that Colby might not have been able to get to first base to beat the runner. So he went to first base, and Colby couldn't quite reach the ball. Hopefully he's okay.
And Mike Maddox, Matt Lucero, the assistant trainer, going out to check on Colby.
It looked like he was going to get to the ball, and as he reached down, he stopped.
Yeah.
I hope that doesn't indicate any type of an injury.
Well, again, Colby, a year and a half removed from, or 2 years removed from that hip resurfacing. And you'll always wonder, Colby said he doesn't have any problem with it at all. But I guess the natural tendency for us is to wonder, hey, did that thing go out, or did, you can kind of envision parts of that hip flying all over the place. Colby makes an odd movement, but he's okay. He's convinced Mike Maddox and Matt Lucero there's no need to worry. So he'll go to work now on Mike Moustakas with 1 on and nobody out. Moustakas pulled a base hit through the hole on the right side in an identical situation back in the 1st inning. 1 ball, no strikes. Moustakas 1 out of 2 today. And that batting average at .316. Royals now with half a dozen hits against Colby, 2 of them in the infield variety. One ball and 1 strike. Colby a check of first, and he will go that way with a toss to drive Escobar back. Colby facing Mike Moustakas, who is 4th in the American League and hitting against right-handed pitching this year. He and Eric Hosmer, his teammate, both hitting .333 against right-handers. Couldn't get him to offer that slider. Now Colby behind in the count, 2-1. Another sellout crowd here this afternoon at Kauffman Stadium. Royals, since the 1st of May, have been averaging almost 35,000 a game. This place only holds 37. Towering pop foul. That will be back about 10 rows in the lower seating area down the first base side.
Moustakas, one of the more improved players in the league this year. Take a look at the cutter, it looks like, on the inside part of the plate. Moustakas was a very highly touted high school player, a very high draft choice, been in the big leagues from the time he was pretty young, really, but in his full seasons with Kansas City is .242, .233. Last year he only hit .212, although he hit some home runs in the postseason. This year, though, it's much different. He's in the top 5 in hitting coming into the game at .314.
There goes Escobar, and the pitch is skied to center field. Escobar picked the ball up, so he knows that Leonis Martin will have an easy play. Martin throwing behind him. Escobar scampering back ahead of the throw. That's out number 1.
And Moustakas is hitting 100 points higher thus far in the season than he did last year.
I know we've talked about him. Moustakas, one of the guys that was given that moniker, the next George Brett, when he first came up, and that never has done anybody any favors here in Kansas City. Remember, Johnny Damon was the first guy, I think, that I can remember that had that expectation put on him. Alex Gordon had that expectation.
And as good a player as Gordon has become, he spent some time after he was in the big leagues getting sent back to the minor leagues.
Yeah.
Moustakas, the same thing last year. He wasn't there very long, but he actually went back to AAA last year as well. He got to the big leagues, I think, maybe when he was 21, 22. Make a case, you know, whether he was ready or not, I don't know. He hit 20 home runs, knocked in 73 runs that first year. Hit 242. Showed he was pretty competitive, but the years after that weren't quite as good as his rookie year, really.
Well, and you hear hitting coaches and managers always talk about the second round of adjustments, the first round of adjustments that teams and pitchers make to young hitters. And then what kinds of adjustments do the hitters make to those situations?
Yeah, it's constantly evolving. It's definitely a game of adjustments. You need to be aware of how pitchers are trying to pitch to you and be able to make an adjustment when they do change. Rougned Odor went through that this year.
Yeah.
I think everybody was surprised that he struggled early in the season based on all the great things that he did last year. But it was a learning experience. Now he's gone back to AAA. He's playing great down there. Did something like 340 or 350 down in AAA, 330, something like that. Just had to kind of go back there, take a deep breath, and regroup.
Well, that old baseball axiom about the sophomore jinx. I mean, that's as much to me about what that's about as anything. The guys making adjustments to a player. Now what does the player do to get back even or get ahead?
Yep.
1-2 to Hosmer. Hosmer 0 for 1 this afternoon. Sacrifice fly and a ground ball to second. Escobar a lead at first. Colby making sure that he doesn't have any designs on swiping second. Colby 70 pitches here this afternoon. Warm, humid afternoon in Kansas City. Gentle breeze drifting out. Now more toward right field than toward center. Colby reading the signs from Chirinos. Tried the inside corner and just missed. 2 balls and 2 strikes. Got a good look right up the middle of that Ranger defense. Got him swinging. Good pitch down. Hosmer couldn't make contact. Colby Lewis with his 4th strikeout of the afternoon. And before Kendrys Morales steps in, let's send it back to Dana Larson for a Mazda game break. All right, Dana, thank you. Oh, boy, the Angels falling on hard times. Seemed like everybody in the division had been losing except the Rangers, which is just fine by the Rangers.
Nice set of circumstances right there. That's why the Rangers are only 3.5 games out coming into the ball game.
Kendrys Morales has been called out on strikes and popped up today. 0 for 2. Left center field, slicing away from Leonis Martin. He can't get there. It goes off his glove, so coming around third is Escobar. He will score on the double by Morales. Royals lead it 3-0.
Well, Leonis had a chance to catch that on a hop and probably keep Escobar from scoring. If he tried to score, he would have a great chance to throw him out at the plate. He just dropped the ball on the hop. Got there, cut it off, and missed the ball. You see he's got to go a long way to get it on hop, but it's one hop right to him. If he catches that ball and hits Elvis quickly with a good throw, I think if they sent Escobar, Elvis would have had a good chance to throw him out.
Well, it's a double. The only question would be whether they give Kendrys Morales the RBI, and they do. Well, they will not charge Leonis with an error. So it's a 3-0 Kansas City lead. Still 2 out. Alex Gordon up there with Morales at second base. And he pops it up. Elvis backpedaling into shallow left field, and that will do it. The Royals get a run on 2 base hits. They lead one after 5. It is the Royals 3 and the Rangers nothing. Sonic. Today's jackpot is worth $100 and dinner for 2 at Sonic Drive-In. If a Ranger hits a home run during the inning, Christopher Chamberlain from Gordon, Texas will win $100. And if a Ranger hits a grand slam during the inning, Christopher will win $25,000. You can register at any participating Sonic restaurant. Hanser Alberto getting set to lead off the 6th inning against Jeremy Guthrie. Guthrie 76 pitches, 50 strikes through the first 5. Alberto popped out to his counterpart, Omar Infante, first time up, and takes a fastball outside for ball 1. Alberto, a 3-for-4 game yesterday. That's the most hits he's had in any major league game that he has played. This is his 9th major league contest. He's hit safely in 7 of them. Guthrie's 1-1 pitch. 1-2. Hanser Alberto made his major league debut against the Red Sox back on the 29th of May. Remember that triple he had in that ball game. Came up from AAA. He was playing shortstop and a little bit of second base, mostly shortstop. He had 303 at Round Rock. Drove in 13 runs in 42 games down there. To left field, Gordon started back. He has to reverse himself. That is out number 1. And it will take the Rangers back to the top of the order for Delino DeShields. DeShields, a couple of fly balls to center. One of them hit pretty hard here this afternoon back in the first inning. Guthrie's first pitch. That's lined to right field. Rios coming on. The ball hangs up for him. Boy, DeShields get a couple now right on the nose. Has nothing to show for it as he lines out for the second out in the 6th inning.
That's all you can do is have good at bats and make solid contact, and he's doing that. Almost sliced this away from Rios.
Does a slump for a hitter start when you start thinking I have to do more than just hit the ball hard?
I think it can. I don't know if it typically does.
And Chu hits the ball pretty well to the left. That's going to carry, but not nearly far enough. And it's a very quick inning for Jeremy Guthrie. He sends the Rangers down in order. He's now retired 7 straight. After 5.5, it's the Royals 3 and the Rangers nothing. Weekend series against the Twins. Fans will be treated to a post-game fireworks show presented by Dairy Max. It will be set to hip-hop music. Purchase tickets in the upper reserve seating section for just $14 using the online coupon code FIREWORKS at texasrangers.com/specials. Alex Rios starting off the Royals' 6th inning against Colby Lewis. Colby threw 5, almost identical to what Jeremy Guthrie has done pitch count wise. 76 pitches through 5 and 52 strikes. Alex Rios 1 for 2 with a double today. 2 balls and a strike. Royals 3 runs on 7 hits. Rangers no runs on just 1 hit. That ball is hit high and deep to left field, but it's going to be playable for Delino DeShields. Midway back on the warning track. Out number 1.
That's a good day to get one up to left field. If you hit it well, it's going to go a long way. That particular ball, he must not have gotten all of it. He certainly has the power to hit a home run to left field. Must have hit it a little bit off the bad part of the bat.
Now here's Salvador Perez, who's 0 for 2. He has skied to left and popped to second. Off the end of the bat. Good thing it's not a cold night. He'd only have about 7 fingers left. Elvis throws him out, 2 gone.
Yeah, Colby's made a lot of good pitches today. Rangers have not made an error, although there's been a couple of plays that, not simple plays, but if the Rangers are playing a terrific defensive game, might have saved Colby a run or 2.
Yeah, you're right. The Rangers haven't had any errors charged to them, but there have been a couple of pretty careless plays that we've seen him make, and that happens. You just would hate to have one of those cost you.
Yeah, it looked like in the last inning that Leonis had a chance to cut that ball off in a hop, and again, you don't know for sure what's going to happen, but maybe keep Escobar from scoring. It was, questionable whether he could have done that. One rally started on that line drive, took a bad hop, tough hop for Elvis, was a base hit, and that run scored too.
Now there's a very quick 1, 2, 3, 6 inning for Colby Lewis and the Rangers. We'll go to the 7th inning at Kauffman Stadium. Royals 3, Rangers nothing. The Royals are executing a little bit of situational hitting. Sacrifice fly in the first by Eric Hosmer. That was 1-0. Then in the very next inning, Alcides Escobar also had a sacrifice fly as he drove home Omar Infante. And then in the 5th, Dedrick Morales doubles into the gap in left center. Guys playing hot potato out there, and run scores. That made it 3-0. As Dedrick Morales got his 39th RBI of the year. Well, the Rangers come to bat here in the 7th inning. Prince Fielder leading things off takes Guthrie's first pitch for ball 1. Guthrie, in the last 2 innings, has thrown a grand total of 17 pitches to send the Rangers down. Prince now has the count of 1 ball and 1 strike. Fielder, a walk in the first. Last time up in the 4th, line drive to right field. That's out of play down the left side. Guthrie still getting that ball to home plate pretty quickly. Our T-Mobile game changer this afternoon, talking about Prince Fielder. 341 with the bases empty, the average for the big guy. 365 when they're on base. And the American League's best average with runners in scoring position, 418. I think you would say that's rising to the occasion.
Sure does.
Down on the count here, a ball and 2 strikes. And another foul off to the left.
Almost hitting the exact same spot as the last one.
Now again, the Royals using that overshift against Fielder with Alcides Escobar, the shortstop, the only Royal on the left side of the infield. Moustakas, the third baseman, at a normal second base spot. 1 gone. Next will be Mitch Moreland.
Guthrie now retired all 7 leadoff hitters in the ball game. Pitching certainly one of his best games of the year. He's had 1 game where he pitched 7 1/3, another game where he pitched 7. That was his opening start of the season. There's a chance for his longest start of the year, depending on how long Ned Yost wants him to stay in the game. They've got someone warming up in the bullpen, it looks like.
Yeah, at 89 pitches, that's just about, well, that's where you start keeping a real close eye on it. Echo pitch tracker getting ready to show you where the pitches are to Mitch Moreland, and Mitch would like to have that one back. Fouled it back to the screen, 0-1. Moreland with the only hit of the afternoon against Guthrie. That was an opposite field double in the 4th inning.
Kelvin Herrera is the pitcher down in the bullpen.
High and tight, 1 ball and 1 strike. There's Herrera, part of that lights out bullpen that the Royals possess. Hard hit into left field, a base hit, and Moreland continuing to drive the ball the other way. Got that one past the shortstop Escobar. So Mitch is 2 for 3. The only 2 hits that the Rangers have today have been off of the bat of Mitch Moreland.
It's been all Kansas City so far in this game, but the reality is it's only a 3-run game. So you get a man on, you've got a couple of guys coming up. Certainly Joey Gallo's got the ability to park one out of the ballpark, and all of a sudden it's a brand new ball game. So you never know in a game like this. Just kind of hang around and hope you can get a couple of base runners and someone gets a hold of one.
Gallo had one to work with there and fouled it straight back. Looked like a breaking ball that stayed up a little bit for him.
It's very tough for Joey to look for a fastball and get a fastball right now. He's seen some fastballs, but for the most part, they're throwing him changeups, sliders, and curveballs.
That ball's ripped to center field.
That's why, right there. So, one of the few fastballs he's seen, he got on top of it and ripped it back through the middle.
Well, Gallo with his first hit of the afternoon. Moreland stopping at second, and all of a sudden, like you were talking about, Tom, the Rangers have the tying run coming to the plate.
Nice swing at that fastball. Hit that ball hard. Well, that's why they got someone warming up. They weren't going to let him get in a lot of trouble here in the 7th inning without making a pitching change.
Well, Ned Yost coming to the mound. And I would imagine he has the hook with him, because with a bullpen like this, you don't waste much time going to that pen after the 6th inning. Yost is going to talk to Guthrie a bit before he presumably will signal for Herrera to come on. And there's the signal. He wants the right-hander, Kelvin Herrera, to come into the ballgame. Nice round of applause for Jeremy Guthrie, who gives up 3 hits in 6 1/3 here this afternoon. He leaves leading 3-0, property on base at first and second, his responsibility. We'll take a timeout here in Kansas City. We're back on Fox Sports Southwest right after this. Reminder for you to tune in tomorrow. United States taking on Australia in the FIFA World Cup, the Women's World Cup of 2015. That's on at 5:30 in the afternoon. United States and Australia on Fox Sports 1. So Herrera on now. Hard-throwing right-hander. He's a 25-year-old out of the Dominican Republic. Rangers saw him for an inning in yesterday's ballgame. And he will face Elvis Andrus with runners at first and second and one out here in the 7th inning. So Herrera appearing for his 23rd time this year. Elvis, pretty familiar with Kelvin Herrera. 2 for 3 in his career against him. When he was ready for that fastball, fouled it straight back, 97 up a bit.
He definitely got a fastball. Herrera last year appeared in 70 games through 70 innings in relief and had a 141 earned run average. Pitching generally the 7th inning of the ball game. And Wade Davis would have the 8th. Greg Holland would have the 9th. An exceptional group of 3 late inning bullpen guys.
0-1 the count. That ball's hammered down the left field line. It is a foul ball.
Man, those balls are killing Elvis. He had one back home. It was a lot closer than that. That one was about a foot from being a base hit. Maybe knocking in 2 runs. Elvis had the same thing happen back in Texas on one that was fouled by about an inch, if that. Well, that's exactly what you're looking for.
Yep.
Get it to a 3-2 game and have a man in scoring position and only 1 out. Just missed it.
2 to 3 feet in foul territory, and Elvis again ready to turn it loose on that fastball from Herrera. Now he's down in the count, 0-2. Herrera also features a changeup and an occasional slider.
You missed that one, man.
Our Coors Light cold hard fact for this afternoon: Rangers have not been shut out in 53 consecutive games. That's the longest streak in the major leagues this year. Cold hard fact brought to you by Clean Crisp Coors Light. Rangers were shut out 2 of the first 3 games of the season and have not been shut out since then. Stadium full of umpires upset with the home plate umpire.
Let's see where it was. Close, but that's not a strike.
Echo pitch tracker. Backing up the call by Jim Reynolds, the home plate umpire. 1-2 to Elvis. Moreland and Gallo at second and first. And the pitch fouled away. I think the way Elvis is swinging the bat right now, a fastball is not going to get him out unless you elevate it.
And I think Pereira's thinking that way. He's thrown him a lot of 89 mile an hour for him off-speed pitches.
Right.
I guess when you're throwing 96 to 98, that's about the differential you would expect from your off-speed pitch.
Don't miss it.
That one just missed. 2-2. Elvis this afternoon has grounded into a double play and grounded out to second. 0 for 2. The batting average currently at .235. Again, our Echo pitch tracker showing you pitches all around the strike zone, only a couple of them inside the rectangle. Off the end of the bat, and that's foul down the first baseline. So Jeremy Guthrie, 6 1/3 innings of work here this afternoon. He leaves having given up only 3 base hits, a couple of walks, 4 strikeouts for Guthrie. Make that 5 strikeouts. Herrera getting set for the 8th pitch of this at bat. Line drive, base hit right field. Moreland had to hold up to make sure it went through, and he stops at third. Elvis going the other way. The Rangers now have 3 consecutive singles. They've loaded the bases with one out, and Leonis Martin is coming up.
A very nice at bat for Elvis, battling against one of the tougher guys in the league to hit. Upper 90s fastball, 90-mile-an-hour split finger pitch. Gets a fastball on the outside corner and beautiful swing and knocks it into right field with some authority. Looks like some guys you just see pretty well. And as well as he's throwing, Elvis looks like he was right on everything he threw him.
And Elvis now 3 for 4 in his matchups against Kelvin Herrera. Here's Leonis, who is 0 for 2 today. And the first pitch is out of play. Martinez strikeout, a fly ball to left. Average of .234 for the Rangers center fielder. Martin just one at bat against Kelvin Herrera. Nothing at 2. Nothing fancy about that from Herrera. It's that low heat. Don told you Herrera last year, 70 appearances, 70 innings, struck out 59. You would think that if you like velocity that much, you'd think he'd have more punch outs than that. But his fastball is relatively straight. Even though the velocity, the ball gets there in a hurry. Guys can usually tune it up if you're throwing a straight fastball at 98 or 100.
Well, that last one was 100.
Herrera ready once again. 0-2 the count. Power changeup.
Yeah, it's pretty amazing when you throw a 91-mile-an-hour changeup through onto Elvis, and Elvis was out in front of it and tipped it right off the end of the bat.
Now the right-hander with a high set. Base hit to right field. Moreland scores. Right behind him is Gallo. The slide, he scores. It's a 2-run single for Leonis Martin, and the Rangers have cut the lead. It's now 3-2 Royals.
Well, that's something you don't see very often against the Kansas City bullpen, is 2 straight hits. Another good at bat. Martin looked early in the count like he was a little overmatched by Herrera. Then he fouled off a 100-mile-an-hour fastball. Got another pitch that he could handle. Trying to throw him in. The ball's on the outside part of the plate. And he hit it fairly well into right field for a 2-run single. You see Joey Gallo at second base. Pretty good speed for a big guy. Jeff Bannister was talking about that the other day. He said, I'm very happy when he's on the bases. He knows how to run the bases, and for a big guy, he's got good speed. Scored easily on that play. Now the Rangers have a tie and run at third base.
Yep. Dave Island, the pitching coach for Kansas City, out to slow things down a bit. Yeah, Andrews at third with the tying run. Our Ford leaderboard telling you about the bullpen ERAs in Kansas City, way out in front of Houston and everybody else. Kansas City with a 172 earned run average. Well, 4 consecutive hits, 2 of them against Guthrie, 2 of them against Herrera. First and third, still just 1 out. And one of those safety squeeze attempts by Robinson Chirinos, trying to push that bunt out towards second base and fouled it off.
That's a tough one. You've got to make a good bunt because you've got to get it by the first baseman. The first baseman is holding the runner on, and he's charging. If he bunted that ball to first base, Hosmer would have had the ball easily. He's a good fielder. And there wasn't much room to get it by the pitcher, between the pitcher and the first baseman.
Well, Chirinos 0 for 2 this afternoon. A tapper back to the mound, also a strikeout. 1 ball and 1 strike. Robinson 0 for 1 against Herrera in past matchups. Herrera has come on to give up a single to Andrews to load the bases, a single to Leonis Martin to drive in 2. Chopper right off the plate. 1 ball, 2 strikes.
The Rangers go 6 1/3 with only 1 hit. The double by Moreland. And then against good pitching, Guthrie's still throwing the ball well, and now Herrera, 4 straight well-hit singles. She might come back again. Got to make some contact. 1 ball, 2 strikes against a tough pitcher.
Herrera to the plate. And the pitch low and inside. 2 balls and 2 strikes. Chirinos checking with Tony Beasley at third. See if Martin might be off and moving. Our Echo pitch tracker. Showing you Herrera in a scattergun approach to this at bat with Chirinos. Martin the lead away from first. Coming down the line from third, Elvis Andrus. There goes Martin. The pitch is foul back.
If Martin can steal second, that's obviously a huge stolen base. You stay out of the double play and you get the go-ahead and run in scoring position.
Looked like there was nobody going to cover the bag if Martin went on that play. And was giving him second base. Again, Chirinos ready. And now backing out momentarily. 2-2, 2 on, 1 out. Rangers have 2 across here in the 7th. Still trail by 1. Martin going again, a chopper up the middle. That is going to get the run home. The only play that Escobar has is to first. Chirinos drives in the tying run. Elvis scores, and we have a brand new ball game. It is 3-3.
And if he's not going, that's a double play, and the inning ends 3-2 in Kansas City's favor. With Martin going, no play at second, only plays at first. Just like a sacrifice fly. Only end up with a man on second.
Well, a brand new ball game. Rangers with 4 consecutive hits in this inning and a ground out to tie it. Elvis scoring the tying run. Robinson Chirinos, his 23rd RBI of the year. Hanser Alberto now with a chance to untie it.
That's what you have to do in that situation. Put the ball in play. Make some contact. And Robinson concentrated and was able to make some contact. Didn't look like much. A little tapper to shortstop, but the big tapper to shortstop, he moved the man from first to second and get the run in.
Off the fist. And a little squibber out to second. Infante throws out Hanser Alberto. That will do it, but Rangers come back to tie it up. 3 runs on 4 hits, 1 man left. After 6.5, 3-3 the score. And we're going to stay right here as the PA announcer will introduce God Bless America.
To defend it. Please join us in singing God Bless America, being performed by Royals Fans Got Talent participant Erica McKenzie.
God bless America, land that I love. Stand beside her and guide her through the night with a light from above. From the mountains to the prairies to the oceans wide with foam. God bless America, my home sweet home. God bless America, my home sweet home.
Team for a Texas Rangers destination trip to Dodger Stadium. Your package includes tickets to both games, first-class hotel accommodations, a meet and greet with Rangers legend Pud Rodriguez, and a lot more. Book your trip at texasrangers.com/destinations. Now Colby Lewis now back to the hill, and Colby all of a sudden in a tie ball game here in the 7th inning. Gerard Dyson showing bunt and takes the breaking ball for ball 1. Dyson has doubled and popped out this afternoon. Royals 3 runs on 7 hits. The Rangers 3 runs on 5 hits. 1-0 pitch. Again showing bunt. It's 2 balls and no strikes. Mentioned Dyson really on a roll offensively. He has had a 3-hit game yesterday. Dyson now 7 for his last 9 trips to the plate. 2 balls and a strike. A bunt is pulled down the first baseline, but into foul territory before Mitch could get to it. It falls to the ground. 2-2.
It's Kansas State Day at the ballpark today. I know one thing. One of the all-time K-State fans is an alum, and she's the director of broadcasting for the Rangers. That's Angie Swin. Hope you're watching today, Angie. And good luck to K-State this year. I know you'll be rooting for them. Buzz and I will be rooting for somebody else, but that's okay.
Fly ball to right. Shin-Soo Choo handles that for out number 1. Yeah, you're right, but
everybody's got the team they root for.
That's true.
You know?
Yep.
It has a lot to do with where you went to college.
Or at least where you left
so
most
how
of
are
your
the
money.
Trojans going to be this year?
Yeah,
have you checked their recruiting list?
They're going to show up 12 times.
Are they?
Yeah.
I think their fans are going to be looking for a little bit more than that, though, aren't they?
Yeah, they are now. They got all their scholarships back from several years ago. Top of the order for the 4th time this afternoon, and Alcides Escobar takes inside for ball 1. And action out in that bullpen in Kansas City's left field corner is Wade Davis, right-hander.
By the way, Buzz, that was Willie the Wildcat. For
Willie the Wildcat.
If you're a K-State fan or alum, you know that. I had to be prompted a little bit by our ace in the booth, John Doolittle. Thanks again, John. Generally, if we say something smart during the broadcast, it's because John told us to say it.
Yeah. Yeah, it's not generally. It's
and then on the occasions where it's not John, it's probably one of the 5 guys in the truck that are feeding us other good information. That's when it's really smart, when it comes from down there. And on the frequent occasions where it's none of the above, that's you and me.
That's us. 1-2 to Escobar. Got him swinging. Colby went up the ladder, and Escobar didn't have the extra rung to go up. That is strikeout number 5 for Lewis. 2 gone for Moustakas. And our Kubota Power Stats talking about the Royals bullpen. Wade Davis among Major League relievers. How about an 0.39 ERA is 3rd?
Well, he's given up 1 run in 23 innings.
218 on base percentage. That's not batting average, that's on base percentage. That's pretty much minuscule.
What a game for Colby, too. It's a hot, humid day out there, and the veteran is still throwing strong here with 90-plus pitches in the 7th inning.
And Moustakas drives one to right. Going back is Choo. He pulls up. It's off the wall. Moustakas going into second. He's in with a slide for a 2-out double.
Well, that's one of the good things about this ballpark. It's not that easy to hit the ball out. There are plenty of ballparks where that might have been a home run, but not in this one. It shows you how far Mitch Moreland hit that home run to left field. Moustakas hits this ball pretty well. He's got some tailing action on the outside part of the plate, but he still hit it well. And it's base of the wall, 387 feet away. Mitch hit his home run in the opener of this series over the 387 sign in left field.
Well, Mike Maddox out there to have a chat with Colby and Robinson Chirinos. The inning-by-inning breakdown. You see a couple of single-digit innings for Colby in the sixth. 7 total pitches in the third, 8. That can extend you about an extra inning from what you would normally get out of the ballgame. Ross Detweiler, the left-hander, loosening in the Ranger bullpen. Rangers with still just 2 left-handers down there, Detweiler and Sam Freeman. No, now it's Colby to face Eric Hosmer. Hosmer 0 for 2 today with a sacrifice fly. He's got the go-ahead run at second. 2 outs here in the bottom of the 7th. And then they're going to walk Hosmer and deal with Kendrys Morales. That does not please the Kansas City faithful. They wanted to see the big guy have a chance to swing the bat, but no such luck.
Well, they're both good hitters. Hosmer's 9th in the league coming in, and Morales top 10 in RBIs, hitting close to 300 himself. So either way, you're facing a proven RBI threat.
Well, it'll be interesting now to see does Jeff Bannister want to turn Morales around to the right side against a left-hander, or let Colby face him. And the decision has been made. Colby's going to face him as a left-handed hitter.
Morales probably has more power from the left side, but still a 308 hitter from the right side.
1 for 3 today, an RBI double. Throw down to second, and back ahead of the tag is Mike Moustakas. And we understand that up in Toronto, that well, we'll save that for just a little later on. Colby ready, the 1-0 pitch. Changeup floats outside, 2-0. Morales now 39 runs driven in this year. Runners in scoring position, Morales with a 393 average. That's 3rd highest in the American League. Got Moustakas at second, Hosmer at first. That ball's hit to right field, hit hard. Going back is Chewy, has it. And that is the inning. Boy, Morales hit it on the button. Chew able to run it down. And the Royals strand a couple on a hit and an intentional walk. We'll go to the 8th. It remains the Rangers 3 and the Royals 3. Now in the top of the 8th inning, and they will face another member that shut down Royals bullpen. That would be Wade Davis. Davis, the 29-year-old Floridian by birth. 24th appearance, 2-1. Again, that minuscule 0.39 ERA, and the opponent's batting average 139. Facing the top of the Ranger order, Delino to Shields to start things. Shields 0 for 3, but he's hit the ball right on the nose a couple of times. 1 ball, no strikes.
Well, the numbers for Wade Davis are pretty incredible this year, but it won't come as a surprise to people that followed him last year. Last year, he appeared in 71 games, pitched 72 innings, a lot like Herrera. His ERA was 1. He gave up 30 hits in 72 innings. 151 average and 109 strikeouts. And you can't have a much better year in relief than that. 72 innings, did not give up a home run, hasn't given up a home run this year. So in right around a 95 or 100 innings, no home runs allowed.
Well, he gave up an earned run this week against Cleveland. The first one this year. Ahead of the count here, 1 ball and 2 strikes to DeShields. Did he go? Yes, he did. And Delino seeing that hard cutter from Wade Davis. 1 gone.
Davis, for a lot of his career in Tampa Bay, was a starting pitcher. They converted him in 2012 to a reliever. He's never been able to translate the same kind of stuff into a starting pitcher that he has as a reliever. He must just be able to air it all out for his 1 inning when he comes into the game. Doesn't have the same ability to do that as a starter.
Yeah, I wonder if he ever tried to do that as a starter.
Might as well give it a shot.
Yeah.
See how long you can go.
His stuff plays pretty well. Here's Chu, and he lines 1 to left. Gordon coming on. Out number 2. For Shin-Soo, 0 for 4 this afternoon. Now Prince Fielder coming up. Fielder 0 for 2 with a walk. That walk came back in the first inning. The 4th inning, he lined to right and then grounded out to the third baseman, Mike Moustakas, his last time up. One ball, no strikes. Keone Kela getting loose in that Ranger bullpen.
You hope Davis has to throw more than 6 or 7 pitches so he can't pitch another inning.
Fielder drives one up the gap in right center field. Way back, a dive, and Dyson can't come up with it. 1 hop in off the wall. Fielder into scoring position with a double to right center.
Dyson made one kind of an effort on that, boy. All out. He dove face first right into the warning track. I don't know how close he was to that ball, but he gave it his best shot. That's a ball that Prince hit a little bit off the end of the bat, so he couldn't knock it out of the ballpark. Carried all the way to the wall in right center field. Watch Dyson. He comes flying out of nowhere. He dives and misses that ball by about 3 feet. Boy, I love the effort on that one.
Man. So Fielder now in scoring position. He's carrying the go-ahead run in this ball game. Mitch Moreland is 2 for 3 today. He is singled and doubled. Cutter low and in for ball 1.
Cutter at 95 miles an hour.
Isn't that something?
Jeez.
Moreland's double was back in the 4th inning. That was the first Ranger hit against Jeremy Guthrie. He singled and scored in the 7th. He started that 3-run Ranger comeback.
We talk about some of the differences in the game now as opposed to 20, 30 years ago. But for as long as I played, I never saw a 95 mile an hour cutter. Hardly ever saw a cutter. Saw sliders, but no one threw a tight slider or a cutter 95 miles an hour. It didn't exist.
And that pitch just a little bit low and inside. 2-1. Wow.
You get one, you get one, you lose one.
Davis studying the signs. Mitch waiting. Check swing. It's a bit low. 3-1. Well, Mitch working the count. Getting the benefit of a couple of close calls. 3 balls, 1 strike, 2 outs. Fielder at second base. A 3-3 ball game. Slowly hit to first. Osmer underhands to Davis covering, and that'll do it. Well, Fielder with a 2-out double is left stranded. Will go to the bottom of the 8th. It's still Rangers 3 and the Royals 3. Finish up here this afternoon. Then it's on to Oakland, an off day tomorrow, and in 3 against the A's to Tuesday night, Wednesday night, and Thursday afternoon before coming back home to take on the Twins over the weekend. Dodgers coming in. They have a home and home against the Dodgers a week from Monday. Well, we head to the bottom of the 8th inning. Keone Kela now has come out of the Ranger bullpen to take over for Colby Lewis. Keone making his 27th appearance of the year. He is asked here to face Alex Gordon to start things off. And Keone pumps in strike 1. Gordon 0 for 2. Hit by a pitch his first time up. It's flied out and popped out. Kela's 0-1 pitch. Colby Lewis this afternoon, 7 innings of work, 8 hits, 3 runs. They were earned. 1 walk. It was intentional. And 5 strikeouts. Another very solid outing by Colby Lewis. I saw Keone Kela against the White Sox, the final game of that 3-game series. And Gordon pops it up. Elvis angling back. That's out number 1. Well, Gordon 0 for 3, and the next hitter will be Alex Rios. Keone Kela, the 22-year-old from the Seattle area. And he has been very strong. He has not given up a run since the 16th of May. That was against Cleveland. He's had 7 outings since then. This would be his 8th where he is unscored upon. and pitching more and more frequently in the 8th inning of ball games. Alex Rios 1 for 3 this afternoon with a double.
Also, Buzz, I think from the beginning of the year till now, his velocity is probably 2 to 3 miles an hour better now.
Yeah.
Earlier in the year, it was fine, 92, 94ish, and now it's pretty much 95, 97. That's some kind of curveball he's featuring, too. He's had that all year long. 97 mile an hour fastball, and then that straight down hard curveball.
0-2 pitch. And he was again, and Rio's able to check his swing. 1 ball, 2 strikes. And that's a pitch that, if you're able to throw that, you have to be confident in what you're doing. That's not a pitch where you can be timid, and you've got to commit to that pitch and really go ahead and bust it off. And Kella exuding confidence out there in the mound. Body language is great. 1-2 pitch. Call, strike 3. Rios throws it at home plate. Now he's going to have a little chat about that call with Jim Reynolds, and Reynolds will reassure him it was strike 3.
Rios was not real happy with the strikeout his first time up. But that's the kind of pitch that a hitter doesn't like, but that one's right there touching the outside corner. So it's definitely a pitch you can call a strike.
2 away now. The catcher, Salvador Perez, steps in. Here's that hook on the first pitch. Perez 0 for 3, a fly ball, a pop out, and a ground out. Keone back to the plate, and a high pop foul will be back in the seats. 0-2 to Perez. Salvador Perez, a .273 average. All-star catcher for the Kansas City Royals. Facing Keone Kella. One ball and 2 strikes. Not often you see a young reliever that throws hard like Keone does have 2 good off-speed pitches that he's willing to throw. Now, along with that 12-6 hook that he throws, he also has a straight changeup that's pretty devastating. To left field, that's hit pretty well. DeShields back at the wall. It's gone. Salvador Perez, a low line drive home run, and the Royals take a 4-3 lead.
Talk about a home run coming out of nowhere. Keone was throwing the ball great. He threw him several straight curveballs and then tried to get a fastball by him, and Perez just jumped all over. He had a pretty good swing at the curveball before that he hit foul. Trying to throw it down and away, but the ball comes in inner part of the plate. And that's the difference between something other than a home run and a home run.
Now Omar Infante grounding out to short, and that'll do it. But Keone Kella gives up his first home run since April 24th. Salvador Perez with the round tripper, and the Royals have a 4-3 lead as we go to the 9th.
4-3 lead, but the Rangers coming up to see if they can retie it or perhaps take a lead of their own. We'll do it all again on Tuesday. The Rangers off in San Francisco tomorrow on Tuesday. Nick Martinez back out on the mound still with that great ERA this season against the ace of that A's staff who the Rangers have gotten to know so well, Sonny Gray. So a good pitching matchup. AT&T Uverse reminds you to check us out on Fox Sports West Southwest late night. Tuesday night, we begin at 9 o'clock, guys.
All right, John, thank you. Well, the Rangers have their work cut out for them. 29-year-old Greg Holland, the closer for the Royals, out there now. And this is his 13th appearance of the year. He's 8 for 9 in his previous save opportunities. Facing Joey Gallo to start things off. And the first pitch is in for strike one. Gallo 1 for 2, a single and a walk this afternoon. Had a single in the middle of that 3-run uprising by the Rangers in the 7th. Trying to get on to begin things here in the ninth. 1 ball and 1 strike. Holland with 93 saves the last 2 years for the Royals. The 1-1 pitch. 2-1.
Yeah, Holland the last couple of years in about 130 innings struck out 190 batters. Just like Wade, his numbers just a lot like Wade Davis's. Strikeouts per inning pitched, hits per inning.
And that's his signature pitch, that hard slider. 2-2 to Gallo. He can seemingly throw that pitch to a left-hander down there every single time.
Yeah.
Target set in a similar location. And Gallo pops it up. Moustakas, the third baseman, coming on, as is the shortstop Escobar. 1 out. And before Andrus comes up, let's send it back to Dana Larson, who will preview Rangers Live coming up after the game. All right, Dana, thank you. 1 out, bases empty. Elvis Andrus, 1 for 3 this afternoon, steps in against Holland. And he hits one high in the air toward the left field corner, near the foul pole, and Gordon able to make the grab for out number 2.
He just missed a home run right there. He got a hanging slider. Just got underneath it a little bit. Didn't hit it all that well, and it went almost to the wall in left field. Just gets a little bit more of that ball, and he's got a chance to hit it out. He's just a little bit out in front of it. And he got the ultimate hanger right there. Had a shot and just missed it.
Well, 2 outs now, and Leonis Martin, who had that big 2-run single in the 3-run Rangers 7th inning. Leonis now with 18 runs driven in. Holland's first pitch. Drops in the off-speed pitch. Now AT&T Uverse rewind, take you back to that 7th inning. Bases loaded, 1 out. A solid base hit to right field, scoring 2 to tie the ball game. And Martin now finds himself down in an 0-2 hole. Leonis 0 for 1. And the only other matchup that he has had against Greg Holland. 38,202 on their feet at Kauffman Stadium. The 0-2 pitch. Got him swinging. Well, Greg Holland comes on, gets his 9th save in 10 opportunities. And the Rangers, despite coming back to tie the ball game in the 7th, go down to defeat as Salvador Perez hammers his second home run in as many games, his 8th of the year. And the Royals prevail in this one 4-3. And congratulations for the Royals all around as they are happy getting one victory out of 3 against the Rangers. We'll come back and wrap things up right after this.